Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, and represent with an explanation point. Issue number 1. Probably a one-shot. I'm hoping it's going to be more than just a one-shot. I really do hope that we do get a couple more of these. I don't want them to get campy or silly. I don't want them to get excessive and ridiculous. This one was good. If they can make another one like this, I'm definitely interested in seeing this. Let's talk about who made this comic book, and I'll give you a little bit more detail about this. So, the story is by Christian Cooper. More on him in a moment. Pencils by Aletha E. Martinez. Inks by Mark Morales. Emilio Lopez does the colors, and the letters are by Rob Clark Jr. There's a special thanks to, I think it says Bobby Chase. It's very hard to see. Anyway, so boom, shakalaka. Christian Cooper is the black former editor for Marvel Comics. Black is important here. Nobody knew about him. I never knew about him. I've met with lots of these guys, right? And no, always at conventions, not like, we're buds or anything. Anyway, I never knew about this dude. And he's out bird watching with a pair of binoculars, looking at some birds, and sees this white woman, that's important, who is in Central Park, and she's got her dog free of a leash, and it's supposed to be a leashed zone, so she's wrong. And he just mentions, hey, and she just, I'm going to tell them that an African-American, I'm going to tell the police an African-American is bothering me, African-American man. Like, she really goes into it. And it's one of those things where, like, you judge it for yourself, but my opinion, when you point out you're excessively enunciating those key words, and I mean, the video is there, you can hear what she's enunciating, and she's full body facing him, not like, she has zero fear of this person whatsoever. You look at the body language, stuff that we learned in the military. She has zero fear, all right, in her voice and her body language. Until she calls the police, and it's all this, hyped up baloney, and she's like, are you trying to get this guy shot? Or are you just trying to get this guy to be afraid of you? It's like one of those things, if somebody's tailgating you, and you hit your brakes, you tap your brakes really quick. Are you trying to make the person hit you? Or are you trying to make the other person realize you're going to wind up hitting me because I'm going to keep on tapping my brakes if you do this? It's one of those weird kind of things. There's going to be people who are going to argue both sides. I like to step back and just watch people fist fight and eat some popcorn and drink some tea. Yeah, there you go. Bang. Anyway, this is me just simply saying this woman knew exactly what she was doing. How far was she willing to let it escalate? I don't know, but I will tell you, she is a horrible, terrible creature feature, and boom. Also, I learned about this comic book from Ernie the Blurred Without Fear. Go check out his YouTube channel, check out his Twitch, and check him out on Twitter also. I know for a fact he's in those 3 places. You know what I'm saying? Very cool person. Turned me on to this comic book. I'm glad he did. Former Marvel editor, right? Why is this book on DC? Because it's called It's a Bird. Because, the bird watching, and also Superman, it's a bird. Look up in the sky, right? So, okay, I see that. Plus, I'm not going to lie, I might consider doing this too. If I was working for Marvel for a long time, just like, I never worked for DC. Let me see if I can do something for DC. This way, I could say I worked for the big 2. It's a stupid little thing that he could just, boom. It's just something to talk about. It's dinner table conversations, man. All right? Let it slide. So anyway, this is basically his story, but from a different perspective. Father gives this young kid, a young black kid, a pair of binoculars. They're very old, used during the Korean War and the Civil Rights. And it said, they're magical. They've saved your ancestors before. And it's like, okay, cool. Let me check them out. And I really like the first page is just hysterical because it shows that he doesn't realize what he's got. And later on, he realizes what he has. So I like that, the whole thing about the PlayStation, everything. Wow, that was really good. One lousy page, and you suddenly get this kid. And it's like, yeah, he's your typical stupid kid. You know what I'm saying? We're all stupid when we're kids. Every single one of us. And they just made this kid as human gets. I freaking love it. So he goes on, and basically the way that the magic of the glasses, of the binoculars work is you get to see other black people who have been killed unjustly by the cops. Things that we know about, the names, they go over the names and whatnot. And it's cool. And they still make it somewhat fictional, because instead of saying like George Floyd, like Big Floyd, they say Breonna instead of Breonna Taylor. They do things like that to, but it still looks like the people, but, it's a comic book, so it's a representation and whatever. So I'm just saying, I really freaking like this book. All right. This wasn't like some, oh my God, it's an amazing book. This isn't going to change the world. This isn't going to make the world a better place. What a shame, but it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? I enjoyed reading this comic book. It was fun for what it was. It was fun. You could see the depiction of what happened to him, but he looked, though I'm not going to give you the spoiler for it. I am going to say, though, I'm very impressed with the way that he did it. He made it a young kid instead of an old man. So that also makes it potentially more dangerous, right? And they also had an interaction beforehand, which we don't know if that interaction actually happened or not. I don't remember him saying that it happened, but it's the idea that we're all human. If he can take some criticism and just shut his mouth and walk away, why can't he give a little criticism and that person shut their mouth and walk away? No, instead, he's still shutting his mouth and walking away afterwards. It's just one of the other ways that it could have gone. Maybe he's just thinking, this is something I could have done also and just let it slide. Either way, you really get to see a lot of this. I don't really want to get into the privilege thing, the male privilege, the white privilege, and all this other stuff, because there are some things that I believe and some things that I don't believe. I don't just hear somebody say something and look around and say, oh, everybody's saying the same thing, so yeah, I have to say that too. No, screw all that noise. I'm not about bunking or debunking. That's not who I am. I'm about looking into these things myself and actually being intelligent and trying to understand these things better myself. But one thing that I will say, that beyond the shadow of a doubt, a form of white privilege that absolutely exists, I'm going to give you 2 examples, is the interactions with police. White people definitely have it easier, at the very least when it comes to police interactions. All right? 1, my grandfather. My grandfather on my mother's side, still alive, could still tell you these stories. If I ever went back to Jersey and, like, hey, granddad, could you talk into the camera and say all these things? He probably wouldn't. But the point is, he's told me, and I'm relating them to you now, full-blooded, like it's in your blood, full-blooded Sicilian. And yeah, he wasn't allowed to get regular jobs that white people had when he was younger. He wasn't allowed to, there was a lot of things he wasn't allowed to do. There was a lot of racism that he dealt with. He got stopped and frisked by the police, according to him, every single day. It was always when he was walking back from work, and he worked 2 jobs, 7 days a week. You know what I'm saying? So, like, you'd have like a half a day, whatever. Anyway, 2 full-time jobs, and they were staggered, so he was actually working every single day. Really messed up, but it is what it is, right? And that's just the way it is. And later on, when they said that Jews, Italians, and Irish. When they said Jews, Italians, and Irish are all considered white at this point, yeah, a lot of that crap still is left over, and I still feel a lot of crap just being Italian, but it's nowhere near what non-white nowadays classified people get. I do remember this one time I walked into a place to get fingerprinted because I was applying for a teaching job, and I had to get fingerprinted. It's important. It's important. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you don't have a criminal past. And there was a cop in there waiting for me, and I've gone in, all right, several times to the fingerprinting place. They screw up your freaking thing all the time. They're always screwing up your thing. Like, oh yeah, sorry, we lost your fingerprints. You got to come in again. Oh no, we don't have time for you today. We're closing up. Sorry, come in. We're gonna reschedule you. It's always some nonsense like that. And all the other times I came in, no cop. But the first time there was a cop. I walked in there and there's a cop waiting there, and he says, "The only reason why I'm here is because of your last name. Your last name is associated with crime families." I'm telling you flat out, I lied to the cop. So no, I'm not related to those guys at all. I don't know what you're talking about. Because I don't feel like dealing with the crap. Because I don't actually know them, but I do know that I'm related to them. Anyway, yeah, that was a real thing. So Italians do still feel it once in a while. It's not on that level, but we do still feel it. Those things should be recognized by both sides. I'm also going to tell you about many times, when I was in 9th grade, I went to a all-black high schools, Asbury Park High School. I was one of 6 white kids, in my grade? No, in the entire school, All right. It was a black high school. There were also Haitians. No, they were not considered black at the time. They were considered Haitians. I don't know about today. And there were also a lot of Latino people. So, what do I know? I don't say Latinx because the Latin people don't say Latinx. They say Latino unless you're specifically talking about a woman, and they say Latina. So, I don't go by what the popular term is. I go what the people, themselves actually say. So there's that. Anyway, yeah, bang. And I remember multiple times hanging out with my friends, all black friends. And if we ever went someplace and we got stopped by cops for literally just for I'm not joking when I say this, just for walking, loitering when it's like it's a public sidewalk and whatnot. Pretty much every single time, almost every single time, not every, but almost every time, I would actually be separated from the other ones. I would actually be separated from the black guys. And while they were getting reamed down and questioned and blah, 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 whatever, I would be told, why are you hanging out with this crew? You're going to get yourself in trouble. You're not like them. You're a good kid, right? I just looked you up. You don't have any kind of criminal record, right? These guys do. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. I know that because I actually know those guys. No, they didn't. Told things like that. And it's funny because it's another way to divide. It's no different than the way that it works in the in the penitentiaries. I know this because I used to be a chaplain for a penitentiary. It was a part-time thing and I didn't get paid for it. It was totally volunteer, but boom. Yeah. Bro, it's the exact same thing. When you walk in and if you're, whatever your color you are, white, black, brown, whatever, like, you walk in and the guard just right away, this is here, there's the weight section, there's cell block C, there's whatever, and there's your people over there, the people with your skin tone. Yeah, that actually genuinely happens. We can also talk about the way that certain religious groups like Muslims are treated in the penitentiary. Dude, I will never argue white privilege when it comes to the way that police or authority figures treat you. Based on that, like there's just there's no reasonable argument as I've ever heard it before. So this book, is it going to change the world? No, it's not. Would it be nice if it did? Yeah, it really would be. And I hope that they can come up with some good stories like this in the future, because I would happily read them, even if it meant paying for them. Oh my God. I like this. And I'm glad that Christian got the chance to tell this story. I'm glad that he got to work for DC now also, in some way or another, even as a freelancer, possibly without even getting paid, whatever. Anyway, I thought this was actually really cool. So I dug on this. And again, it's free. Go to Comixology, represent with an exclamation point, issue number 1, boom, add it to cart, accept, because, no charge, it'll come up 0 charge, and bang, it's yours. Anyway, guys, I'm out. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Like the video, watch an ad. Class dismissed.